Good morning, everybody.
Not.
Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Canaveral Port Authority Board of Commissioners. At this time, I would like everybody to stand, and Commissioner Markey will lead us with the prayer and with the pledge. I'm sorry. You won't do the prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to identify the ambassadors that we have with us, and as I call your name, if you'd please stand. Bob Sachs, somewhere. Okay, back in the corner. Mike Ruteau, Mike, Jim Henley, and Mac McLaughlin. Thank you. We appreciate your service to the Port Authority. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda for today. So the chair would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motions. The agenda is approved. Next item is approval of the minutes of our February 25th, 2026 meeting. Chair would entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The minutes are approved. Next item is personal appearance and presentation. Employee Service Awards. Amanda?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please go up to backside, it's fine. We're mixing things up today. The first honoree we have is Captain John Murray, who has been here for 10 years. Captain Murray joined the Canaveral Port Authority. He joined the Port Authority in February 2016. Throughout the past 10 years, he has led our team, creating strong partnerships with the customers, partners, and the community along the way. His dedication and long-term focus are the foundation of our port's strategic mission as a vital link for global commerce and an economic driver for our region and the state. During his decade of service, Captain Murray's commitment to sound planning and fiscally responsible business decisions has guided our capital planning and investments in improvements that have led to tremendous business growth for our port and the surrounding communities. His steady leadership, expert guidance, and fortitude have navigated our port through both triumphs and challenges. Because of his efforts, the port has not just survived, but also thrived like never before. Captain Murray consistently provides encouragement and support and respects the skills and capabilities of the entire Port Canaveral team. He is staunchly committed to making Port Canaveral the best it can be, and for that we are truly grateful. We congratulate Captain Murray on his 10-year anniversary.
John, on behalf of myself and all the commissioners, we thank you for your dedication and for everything that you've done for the port while you've been here. You're a great inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. You were chairman when I started.
That's right.
You're chairman again.
Yes.
Oh.
Perfect. Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Gold watches in the bag. Great.
We do have some other employees that we would like to recognize. And the first employee that we'll be recognizing is also a 5-year employee, Lucas Brummer. In his time at the port, Lucas has had 2 promotions. Initially, Lucas was an environmental specialist and was promoted to an analyst in 2022. Today, Lucas is the environmental manager, focusing on environmental protection and compliance with new and existing projects, facilities, and infrastructure. Lucas is recognized by his peers for his continued dedication as an environmental champion. Lucas recently supported the 27th Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival, which is the 2nd largest event of its kind in the U.S. Lucas enjoys spending time with his wife, family, friends, while all the time growing in his faith. Thank you, Lucas. Our next honoree is Bob Musser, who is also a 10-year milestone. Bob became the Director of Environmental Programs in January 2016. In his current leadership role as Senior Director, he leads, organizes, and implements the port's environmental activities. He oversees assessment, restoration, enhancement, and works on permitting, compliance, and training. He also supports Keep Brevard Beautiful, the Space Coast Birding and Wildlife Festival, and the Earth Day cleanup event of Jetty Park. In 2024, Bob accepted the Green Marine recertification on behalf of Port Canaveral. This marks Bob's 25th year working in various Florida ports as an environmental advocate. He led programs at Canaveral Port Authority, Port Tampa Bay, and Port Everglades. Bob incorporates his love for the outdoors when he participates in litter cleanups and running events in the Space Coast. At home, together with his wife and daughter, Bob enjoys family time and their pets. Thank you, Bob. Our next person is Lisa Botzemeyer, who is celebrating 15-year milestone. Lisa joined the port in February 2011 as a specialist in the Information Technology Department. In 2022, she transferred to the Operations Department, and in 2025, she was promoted to Senior Specialist. In her current role, Lisa provides administrative and operational support to the Vice President and directors within the operational departments, including cruise, cargo, and harbor masters. She has a vast knowledge of the cruise parking operation, and she regularly assists with cruise guests. With 15 years of service at the port, she's known for thriving in a fast-paced environment and for her collaborative approach. Lisa is frequently recognized for her patience, positive attitude, and commitment as a team player. Lisa loves to travel with her husband, and she enjoys spending time at home with their 2 cats. Thank you, Lisa. Our next person we would like to honor is Jerry Bartonico. Jerry's port career began in 2011 as a landscape technician, where he took great pride in helping beautify Port Canaveral. In 2013, he was promoted to Automation Controls Technician A, and now he maintains and operates the port's passenger boarding bridges. Jerry consistently responds to customer requests, providing timely and professional solutions. Jerry has become a great lead within the automation group. He plays a key role in ensuring the passenger boarding bridges operate at optimal efficiency while also supporting the automation team. Known for his strong work ethic and willingness to help whenever needed, Jerry's positive, fun-loving attitude also helps boost morale along the team members. Outside of work, Jerry enjoys spending time with his family, visiting theme parks, fishing, hunting, and riding his motorcycle. Thank you, Jerry.
And let me say on behalf of all the commissioners, I thank all of the employees for what you've done for the port. We appreciate your effort to make us the #1 port in the world. All of you, it's a team effort. Thank you. Okay. Before the CEO report.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I wanted to kind of follow up on what we all met with last night at the town hall. Appreciate everybody coming out and for everyone's attention to this, to the LNG matter. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to find the 50-acre barge canal property as a strategic port property and should not be sold. I'd like to direct staff to reject the unsolicited offer for the sale and/or lease of the barge canal property for development and use as an LNG liquefaction plant.
Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Been moved in second, discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, actually, I do have quite a few comments to make on this before we have a vote, if you don't mind. First of all, you know, we're up here and we're trying to think this process through. It's not easy to come to this, right away. So I have to bring in a lot of factors to consider this. I made a solo trip myself up to the Jax LNG facility. I did not go on the facility, but it was kind of a drive-by. And then I spoke with a homeowner that lived just to the north of that facility. I've read through, among other things, an environmental impact statement regarding another small LNG facility. In full disclosure, I worked in the electric and natural gas industry for 4 years, and which included working for a large natural gas company and as a consultant on mergers and acquisitions across the United States. I do believe that Chesapeake and Berkshire Hathaway are solid outfits based on my experience. These are professionals. So I know, although there was some frustration, I recognize definitely among the residents particularly that some of the responses to inquiries were, for lack of a better word, opaque. The bottom line is that given the considerable size and location of the property, I'm not ready to sell it. So I'll agree with the motion. Not this year, in any way, whether it's LNG or any other purpose, because you're looking at, if we were to sell it, you're looking at least a 50-year window. You have to look through that kind of a lens. And this is a very large property, and it's in the location, as I mentioned. If we were to take it off the port's hands completely. And I would need an adequate window of time to perform a deep dive on the various potential uses were we to sell it. As I considered the proposal, I did note that, as Captain Murray and Craig Langley pointed out, Port Canaveral has quickly become very crowded. And that steps to relieve these conditions through, for example, a space wharf to accommodate space-related vessels cannot be achieved for many years. That President Trump recently issued an executive order directing the development of a marine action plan, which calls on ports to help rebuild America's maritime industrial base, the activities of which could involve sizable federal grants to participants. That Florida will have a new governor and executive administration in a few months with their own vision and focus on ports, and transportation that cannot be appraised at this time. And that it would behoove us, the port that is, to get feedback from the Brevard legislative delegation and local government bodies before we decided on any future conveyance. Some might argue that to reject the sale of the property, the port would be foregoing over $11 million of revenue, potentially. However, the monetary value of the port property will actually increase over time were we to ever sell it. And then finally, in my review, I took into account the fact that the property being so close to residents, there would be stressors that could impact the local community, whether these stressors were psychological, health-related, or environmental. And property values could be negatively impacted as well. So, Mr. Chairman, those are my comments. I will agree to this motion, but I just wanted to make those comments. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none? Chair will entertain a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the CEO report. Captain Murray, you're on deck.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Off to a good start. Okay. Maybe I'll hold off for a minute since I think a few folks are trying to step out. Okay, if you're still seated, you're gonna have to endure my presentation. Okay, all right, good. Very good. Okay, well, good morning.
Good morning.
I got a quick report today. We got a lot of great things going on here at the port. Numbers are strong, 498 ship calls through February, 4 million multi-day passengers already. We have some seasonal ship changes. The Sky Princess left us on March 8th. She was a seasonal winter season vessel for Princess. Norwegian Joy departs on April 10th. The Grandiosa departs April 18th. She's off to the Mediterranean. The Explorer of the Seas departs April 23rd. Celebrity Apex, April 25th. And Caribbean Princess arrives on May 11th. So we have a new Princess vessel for the summer season, which is a new feature for us this year. We did not have that last year. And the Carnival Venezia leaves us on May 17th. So we've had a very, very strong winter season, a lot of ships, but they're here for the winter, and we'll be back to our core vessels, home-ported vessels after May. Carnival Glory left on May 10th. She's in dry dock. She returns on April 24th. She's one of our year-round ships for Carnival, Mondays and Fridays at Cruise Terminal 3. The MSC Seashore departs on March 31st, returns on April 19th, and when the Seashore comes back, she'll go back into her old rotation of 347 while the Grandiosa's off to the Med for the summer. And the Grandiosa does come back this winter season coming up, and she'll be here year-round when she's back. So it's only for the summer that she's leaving us. On the cargo update, 305 ship calls, including lay berth, 2.5 million tons. On the space side, we had 32 boosters and 70 fairing recoveries so far this year. We also hosted the City of Kissimmee leadership, welcomed Mayor Jackie Espinoza and senior city officials for a tour of the Crimson Clover. Crimson Clover is our bi-monthly service that runs from Port Canaveral to Puerto Rico, and it's been running almost a year now. So it's a break bulk service, which means it's not containerized. It's different types of cargo like steel and lumber and all sorts of different things. The Kissimmee folks came because of our recent FTZ expansion into Osceola County, and they're wondering how they can participate in our foreign trade zone. So we highlighted expanding trade opportunities with Puerto Rico, key markets across the Caribbean and the Americas. They were just here to get familiar with what we do and how we can help the people from Kissimmee and Osceola County. Public safety, we had a hazard mitigation grant approved to secure a 375 kilowatt mobile generator. That was a federal grant. Operational planning and external engagement, we had the Society of Gases and Marine Fuel meeting on future fuels, accident release response on March 2nd. Brevard County EOC partner meeting on March 12th. Thunder on the Beach planning meeting March 18th. We also had a cybersecurity tabletop exercise on March 19th, and I'm going to throw out here that on March 20th we had lost the entire internet for the port due to a contractor cutting one of our fiber optic cables on the north side during construction. So it was timely for the cybersecurity exercise, but nobody factored in a contractor error in the process. But we managed to get through that on Friday. The SGMF Board of Directors meeting, March 24th and 25th, and Corey is taking care of that for us. And Artemis launch prep meeting, March 26th for the upcoming launch. Recreation, Jetty Park Campground has been full or pretty close, 95%. Average daily vehicles, 347, total count 9.7 thousand for the month. We were open for 3 of 7 launches, and we supported multiple events. The Disney Cruise Line Achievement Day on February 3rd, February 6th, Wear Red for cardiovascular disease awareness, February 7th, FSFA Kids Fishing Clinic, and on February 8th, the Super Bowl food drive. So it's been very active. I'm going to touch base on commercial fishing update. I've talked about it to you guys individually, but during our briefings. But at the end of the day, as we evolved the west end of the port, we learned probably a year and a half ago how much the Seafood Atlantic specifically is very dependent on individual fishermen, commercial fishermen that operate out of the port. And we learned a lot about who they are, what they do, how they're licensed, how they have to bring their catch in, and they have to be certified. And if you're certified for kingfish and you bring back a snapper, the commercial receiver cannot take the snapper unless you're licensed for it. So we learned a lot about this, and it's interesting because in our charter we've always focused on Seafood Atlantic and Wild Ocean as our 2 commercial fish dealers, but we never really looked at where their business comes from. So after in the last couple of years, it's been a couple of years that we've been doing this, and we've gathered the commercial fishermen together a few times, and you've got charter fishermen in there, but the commercial guys are different. They're licensed federally, statewide. It's a different animal altogether, and we pretty much identified who is in the water and who needed a berth going forward. And as we were looking at how we put out a request for proposal on a new marina operator for the west side of the port, it became a complexity because we were going to have to weave into that bid how we need to support the commercial fishermen, and it's not easy to do that, and it's not easy for someone to bid on a project when they really don't understand what they're bidding on. So through our numerous meetings, we followed up with Sebastian's got a commercial fishing dock down there that the fishermen manage themselves. And they take care of their own business. They take care of the leases with one another. And they came up and talked to us in one of our meetings, and we thought, well, maybe that would work here. Maybe we just designate an area of the port for the commercial guys. We'll lease that to them, and then they manage themselves. And that's pretty much where we are. And one of the items on today's agenda actually does that. The Port Canaveral Fishermen's Alliance is a local group that is here in Seafood Atlantic, and Jim Bussey's in the audience today if you have any questions for him. As I say, I'm not going to read all of these bullet points, but at the end of the day, we've got 16 dedicated docks that we're going to build for the commercial guys. It's over on the west side of the port, close to the Port Canaveral Yacht Club. It's about an acre of land. We're going to put it together, and we're working with them closely on what the requirements are, and then they will take it over and manage themselves, which we think is a great way forward, and it keeps us from having to micromanage a group. It gives them their own autonomy, and we're really excited to get to this point. It's taken a long time to get there, and I just wanted to highlight that in my report today, that we're really excited about this. Environmental update, we had the Keep of Our Beautiful Trash Bash April 11th, Freddie Patrick Boat Ramp, and a port-sponsored event in partnership with the Propeller Club. And that's all I have, celebrating our employees. We had Employee Appreciation Day last month, and we got a lot of great people working here. So, any questions?
Any questions for John?
Great, thank you.
Thank you, John. Good report. Next item is Jeff Long, financial reports.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Beislein and Captain Murray. I'm going to give you a brief update on our February financial results. Before I get into the slides, I just wanted to give you a very high-level snapshot of how we have performed for the month and for the 5 months ending February. As you know, we're 5 months into our fiscal year, and our financial numbers continue to be strong. From a revenue perspective, for the month of February, we were about $150,000 ahead of budget. And for the 5 months, we are tracking at 4.4% and $4.4 million ahead of budget. So the primary driver of the favorable variance in revenue continues to be our very strong cruise activity, which continues to be a very key contributor to our financial success this fiscal year. From an expense standpoint, for the month of February, we were below expenses. For the 5 months through February, our expenses are tracking 6% below budget. Now, the primary reason for that is a combination of a couple of things. First, timing of certain categories continue to be favorable for us. I expect that to normalize as we continue the fiscal year. And also, we continue to have ongoing cost containment efforts across the organization. So because of those reasons, we continue to be favorable from an expense standpoint. So added up, what it means through 5 months is our operating income is at $42.3 million for the 5 months. That is $8.4 million ahead of our operating income budget through February, driven over half or $4.4 million of the variance due to our very strong cruise performance. And then secondly, because of the expense savings that I've mentioned. So we continue to be in a very strong financial position. As we have been doing, we will continue to focus and be disciplined in our management of operating revenues and expenses through the rest of the fiscal year. So with that as a backdrop, I'll go ahead and get into the slides for February. For the month of February, again, operating revenues came in slightly ahead of budget, but 16% ahead of where we were last February. From an operating expense standpoint for the month, we came in right at $13 million, which again was favorable to budget for the current month, and a 10% increase over where we were last February. But as I've mentioned before, that's deliberate. We've made investments in people, technology, facilities, and operations over the last year. The result for February is we had operating income of $8.1 million, which was 27% ahead of where we were a year ago for the month of February. Now looking at the 5 months through February, our operating revenues were a little bit over $105 million. That's a little over 4% above budget, and 19% growth as we compare to the same 5 months of fiscal year 25. Operating expenses for the 5 months, $63 million. That's below budget, as I've mentioned before, because of timing in certain categories and our ongoing cost containment efforts. 15% above where we were through 5 months of fiscal year 25. Again, that is planned. And the result is operating income 42.3 or $8.4 million ahead of budget so far this fiscal year. Taking a look at how our operating revenue breaks out, you can see the top 3 lines: cruise, capital costs, recovery charge, which is a cruise revenue item, and cruise parking. Those 3 represent about 86% of our operating revenue. Cargo, a very important part of this port, is about 9.8 or 9% of our operating revenue. And other revenues, which consist of leases outside of cargo, our recreation, jetty park, campground, and also ground transportation, among other items, represents our other revenue, which again is a very critical and important part of our operation here. Taking a look at statistics for the month of February, we moved 827,000 cruise passengers. That is up 11% over what we did last February. We had 103 cruise calls. That's up also 11% from last February. And from a cargo perspective, we moved 442,000 tons, up 24% year over year with 49 calls. So very efficient cargo operation for February. Taking a look at our year-to-date statistics, we have already moved through 5 months 4 million cruise passengers. That's up 19% over the same 5-month period just 1 year ago. We had 498 cruise calls. That's up 20% over this time last year. And we've moved about 2.5 million tons already of cargo, which is slightly ahead of where we were this time last year with 306 cargo calls. Taking a look at our cruise calls by cruise lines, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Disney continue to be our largest three. No surprise there. They represent nearly 3/4 of our cruise calls, followed by MSC, Norwegian, Princess, and Celebrity Cruise Lines. This is a graph I like to show each month, which shows the blue line represents what we did actually last fiscal year, month by month from October through September. The dotted line represents our budget for fiscal year 26. And you can see our actual cruise passengers are right in line with our budget. Again, we've moved about 4 million passengers and we're about 50,000 cruise passenger movements ahead of budget through the first 5 months. So our full year budget calls for a movement of 9.0 million passengers, and we're tracking closer to 9.1, maybe 9.2 for the fiscal year. One thing I also wanted to point out, and Captain Murray mentioned this on his slides, but in March and April, we have a couple of significant dry docks. Carnival Glory went to dry dock earlier this month and will return later in late April. Also, MSC Seashore goes into dry dock next week and will be at dry dock for about 3 weeks. So because of those two dry docks, you will see our March and April budgeted passenger movements are actually slightly below where we were a year ago for March and April actual movements. Taking a quick look at our cargo, we are right on budget from a revenue perspective at $9.8 million for cargo. That breaks out in fees, dockage, wharfage, et cetera, $7.1 million, and then cargo rent makes up the difference, $2.7 million. And you can see the categories and the movement of tons. Petroleum continues to be a significant part of our cargo operation here. Over 53% of the tons moved relate to petroleum. And to put that in perspective, to put it in just consumer terms, the movement through 5 months of petroleum, the fuel would fill up 3.5 million Ford F-150 trucks. So to put it in perspective, lumber, we have moved about 300,000 tons of that, or about 12% of our total tonnage. And to put that in consumer terms, that represents the lumber we brought in through the first 5 months represents the construction of 20,000, 2,000 square foot homes in Central Florida. So very significant, even through 5 months of the year. Taking a look at our total other revenues, again, right on budget in these categories. Leases outside our cargo, so restaurants, the various companies that lease property from us here represents about $2 million in revenue, in lease revenue for us. Recreation, Jetty Park, the campground, $1.7 million right on budget, and miscellaneous, which is mainly ground transportation fees that we charge right on budget at $1.3 million. Taking a more detailed look at our February operating revenues, I'll draw your attention to the bottom line there. Our budget for the month, $20.8 million. We came in right at 21, so about 155,000 favorable variance, which is less than 1% favorable variance. And of course, year to date, we're about 4% or higher from revenue. Taking a look at our February operating expenses, we were favorable in this area as well. by $509,000. Again, much of this is timing that we do expect to normalize through the remainder of the fiscal year, but we are also managing very closely, and we always do, with our department heads and our staff, the management of our costs. So we will continue and we will always do that. Taking a look at our operating revenues for the first 5 months in detail, you can see at the bottom our total favorable variance is 4.4% or $4.4 million as well, driven primarily through our cruise revenue, which continues again to be a key contributor to our financial performance through the first 5 months of the fiscal year. Taking a look at operating expenses by department, you can see each department is under their budget. Our department heads and staff do a great job managing to their budget, and we are favorable 6%. As I have mentioned before, through the remaining 7 months of the fiscal year, I do believe we'll see this favorable variance shrink, but we work hard to stay within budget with our operating expenses. Each department does. After we consider our non-operating revenues and non-operating expenses, the operating income that I mentioned before, 42.3 net of non-operating revenues and expenses, results in our bottom line for us to invest back into port investments to pay for the future expansion that we are doing. You can see cranes around the port. Several cranes. So we are investing for the future, for sustained growth. That bottom line number is $41.8 million through the first 5 months. So next month, of course, when I'll be presenting on our second quarter results through March. That will be our mid-year point. So I'll have a little bit more detail as I compare quarter over quarter in fiscal year 26 versus fiscal year 25. So that's coming next month. And also, I just wanted to remind the group here that the commissioners get detailed financial statements each month. They received those last week. I have one-on-one meetings with each of them prior to this meeting, so I go through the numbers in much more detail, answer any questions that they may have. So that concludes the February financial presentation.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? Thank you. Very good report.
Okay.
We continue to do well.
Yes.
Before I make the motion, I would like to commend staff for a clean sheet on receivables again this month.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it sure is. Narissa Long does a great job with that. She works with Elena Fernandez. But yeah, we have 100% of our receivables in the current column. So yeah, a very great report.
It really is. Not that there's been a
I can't remember
problem.
when I've seen it.
I think last time was the first time.
What was it? I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling Pat
That's
this
great.
morning, next month, if we get to 99% in current, everyone's going to wonder what's wrong.
Yep. Darn right. Okay. Having said that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial memo for February 2026, to approve the statistical report, aging report, list of bills for February 2026, and finally to approve the list of disposals, legal bills, and commissioner minor expenses for February 2026.
Great. Do I have a second on that motion?
Second, Mr. Chair.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion is approved. Jeff makes us money. You show us how to spend the money.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would
plan
stick around to
future.
hear the next part. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. It really is an honor to get up here again and talk about how we reinvest in the port, and it's also timely to be able to follow Dr. Jeff Long's presentation as well. Most of the time I've been talking about cruise and cargo, two of our largest books of business at the port. Today we get to talk about two other books of business, recreation and real estate. So that as well is timely. Before I get into discussing Jetty Park improvements, I just want to also recap everything else that we've been investing in our recreational facilities. As we all know, we have more recreational assets than all other Florida ports combined. Currently, we're planning a renovation of Rodney Ketchum Park. That is a $5 million renovation of that no-cost boat ramp, no charge to the public. Last year, we opened our new Jetty Park Camp Store, $2.6 million, and that does serve campers on the campground side and the day park side. We are in the process of completing a $1.3 million renovation of our Jetty Park Pavilion, and uniquely, that's going to have 3 spaces next to it for food trucks. So we'll be able to seasonally provide refreshments and food items for those of the public visiting Jetty Park. In addition to that, we're spending $600,000 renovating the children's playground, the covered playground area in Jetty Park. So a substantial investment is going into Jetty Park. With the capstone being presented here, this is the Jetty Park Master Plan led by Kinley Horn, and I have Matthew Gillespie in the audience representing Kinley Horn, taking it from a concept design, which I'm going to show you here in a moment, to full detailed design. Once we get through full detailed design, we'll go into a bidding process, and our budget for this program is nearly $14 million to be invested. So you see that combined total of investments into our recreational facilities recently is $25 million. It's substantial investment in those public-facing, community-facing assets that we have here at Port Canaveral. So what does this mean for Jetty Park? Well, it is a campground that has some flooding issues. When it's dry, it's a dust bowl. When it's wet, it's a mud pit. So we're going to be paving all of those internal roadways. We're going to be renovating all 138 RV camping spots that exist in the park currently. As you see from this concept map, now keep in mind this is concept, this is not final, so subject to change, but we have a new widened entrance into Jetty Park that is planned for better emergency egress and ingress. We have expanded overflow parking in the plan, renovation of existing beachfront parking, and then you see the campground area. So every space is going to be renovated, new concrete pad, new utility hookups, new restroom facilities, new bathhouses, new entrance guard shack, and then even on the day park side, new entrance and some additional parking features as well. So really a fantastic plan, and my team, spearheaded by Veronica Narvaez-Lugo, working closely with Recreation, Lisa Meyer in our Recreation Department, has really put together an excellent conceptual master plan for Jetty Park improvements. The second item I get to highlight is, as Captain Murray referenced in his presentation, the commercial fishing facility. So it is about a 1-acre parcel that is at the west end of the port in our Marina District. There's 2 components to this. The one that we were highlighting today is item 1C on the agenda. We are hiring Mel D Studio Architecture, one of our continuing contract architects, to develop this Uplands parcel. At the same time, working through our system, we have a $58,000 purchase order in play to Rush Marine for the water side. So we have these 2, land side and water side, purchase orders that we are pursuing. This will be a 7-figure investment once it is all completed, just so you're aware of the magnitude we're talking about. So let's dig into some of the details. In the Uplands, we're going to provide 34 POV or regular parking spaces. We have a series of 4 truck and boat trailer parking spaces. We have 17 non-air conditioned but weather protected mini storage units that are going to be built along the western perimeter. In addition, we have a 20 by 40 hurricane rated covered pavilion with fish cleaning station. You see this concrete pad right here in the upper left. It represents an area where we will be able to mobilize. It could be a restroom trailer. It could be a small office trailer. We have a lot of flexibility in what that modular upland facility needs to be to meet the needs of the Commercial Fishing Alliance, which will result in a commercial lease to support our real estate department here at Port Canaveral. So this really highlights all of the uplands area. Gonna rotate that 90 degrees and show you the water side. So this is the water side improvements that we have Rush Marine engaged in on the left. And as was noted earlier, it provides 16 wet slips, plus a couple of extra spots at the end of the T-dock, so potentially you could get about 18 vessels. So these will be floating pile supported piers or floating piers with guide piles and utility connection hookups on the piers themselves. Any questions about these two items?
I'd just like to comment that as simple as that looks, I think it's a really good idea. And I know I've talked to many of the commercial fishermen who are going to be enjoying that amenity. So I just wanted to call that out. I think it's really smart.
Accommodating the commercial fishermen is important. One of the, along with the wild ocean and Florida, seafood Atlantic, our efforts in the commercial fishing area. That's great.
And thanks to Captain Murray for guiding us through that process and helping to draw, connect the dots from the
exactly.
charter fishermen to the commercial fishermen and their business. And Chairman or Commissioner Markey, to your point, it is a fairly straightforward and simple facility to build, but is going to have a tremendous impact on their effort and their organization.
Yep.
Then my final slide is just to go around the port and see if there's any questions about all of the other ongoing projects that we have going on. Cruise Terminal 5, we're in the middle of expanding that terminal while it is very, very active. And we're on the eve of mobilizing for Cruise Terminal 10 expansion as well. So in coming months, there will be commission agenda items related to brick and mortar cost at Cruise Terminal 10 expansion. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Okay, public comment on consent agenda items. Jim Bussey. Regarding the commercial deck.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. My name is Jim Bussey, owner of Seafood Atlantic. I first set foot on the seawall where Fisher's used to be in 1973. So that's quite a while ago. I'm becoming the old guy in town here. So I didn't realize that Captain Murray was a 10-year, he's been here for 10 years. That's amazing. And on this 10-year anniversary, we have this commercial dock. It's just blows me away. I'd like to thank all those involved in getting us to where we are today. The first ever commercial fishing facility from Port Canaveral that we've ever seen. And we've approached for many years with no results. At one time we were the black sheep of the family. Now we are getting the respect we deserve for what we do. We provide seafood from the ocean to the public. No one else can do it but a commercial seafood dealer. You can't get it any other way. I'd like to thank everybody involved to get us to where we are today. We're looking at the first ever designated commercial fishing facility designed and built by Canaveral Port Authority to help maintain the integrity and longevity of the commercial fishing fleet. Many thanks to Captain Murray and the Canaveral Port Canaveral Port Authority staff for recognizing the importance of who we are and what we do. We harvest and provide local caught seafood to the public. Recognizing the dilemma of being displaced due to future plans of the cruise ship terminal, Captain Murray and his team not only saw the need to step up to the plate and find a solution, but they actually did it. We all came together and decided, hell yeah, let's build them a dock. It was that simple. As Mr. Markey said, the Commissioner Markey said, it's a very simple plan. I got a funny feeling it's being approved. We came together And here we are. Here we are. The cruise ship on each side of us, the rockets going up to the north of us, and we still exist as a commercial fishing entity. We are the commercial fishermen and women of Port Canaveral. And we thank you for what you've done, and we thank you forever. We are the Port Canaveral Commercial Fishermen's Alliance. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, the consent agenda. I'll start with Commissioner Lloyd. Any items you want pulled on the consent agenda?
I have none, Mr. Chair.
Nothing here, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Markey?
And nothing here, Mr. Chairman.
And I have none. So the chair would entertain a motion to approve consent item 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 3A, and 3B.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved. Public comment. Matt McLeod.
Well, I'm still here. And I just, it was about 25 years ago when I retired. And interestingly enough, Chuck Rowland, who was previous port manager, he gave me a hat. And this hat's kind of a nice hat, since it was Port Canaveral and so forth. And I'd like to pass this on to John Murray today, a port hat, so he can keep it and put it on a shelf or wherever you want to put it. And
He can wear it to every
with
meeting.
the idea, the thing that really excites me the most is the fact that we're the #1 cruise port in the world. I mean, I got about 30 years of experience at this port, and that fact happened. I mean, when I first came here, there was only 3 people, this George King Sr., who did a great job, and Barbara Smith and Ronnie, who took care of all the docks. And that was it. And five commissioners. So we're #1 in the world now, John, and I'm going to give you this. I know you probably can wear it, but you can put it on your shelf or do whatever you want to do with it. But it has a great meaning, and I appreciate it very much. So I'll just, I can't approach the thing, but I'll be more than happy to give you this.
Look at this, huh? Passing of the hat.
Thank you, Mac. Now, public comment. I have a bunch of public comment cards. Now is the time for any of you in the public, if you want to get up and make a comment. Now's your opportunity. So maybe one at a time, rather than me go through each of these cards and call people's name, if maybe 1 or 2 of you at a time, or one could get up and speak, give us your name and everything like normal, and if others, if you will stand, and so the line will move right along. But we appreciate you being here. Didn't want to.
Yes, Diana Glenn's resident of Merritt Island, and I'm still here. A lot of my neighbors left, but I thought it was important to just thank you guys for your time over the past several months with this LNG proposal. I was here in January and February, and I had a long speech, so long that I went over my 3 minutes. I'm not going to go over 3 minutes today, but I felt it was important to stay and show the respect to you guys because you respectfully took the time to carefully consider the proposal, and you guys did your research as well. So I just wanted to thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Elliter and Commissioners. My name is Phil Stasek. I am a resident of North Merritt Island, longtime resident, 32 years. I've been to a number of your meetings over that time, and I'll tell you what, you do run an impressive show here, and you do deserve our respect. Today, you made the right decision. One of the things I'd like to talk to you about just for a moment is the captain's burden. I'm a retired airline captain. I've flown airplanes for more than 50 years, 23 of those as an airline captain. And there is nothing like sitting in the seat knowing that you are the last decision maker. Each of you, each of the 5 of you are in that position. Essentially, we elect you to be the captains of our port. Each of you, in your own time, sits in the captain's seat, and you're held accountable for the decisions that you make. We've been here talking to you about the importance of this LNG proposal, but there are many decisions that you make on a regular basis. And ultimately, you, as individuals, are held responsible, for good or for bad. This issue is very, very important to our community. And one of the things that every captain has to decide are things that have to do with the safety of your passengers and your crew, as well as your ship. I know some of you actually have experience as captains. Those of you that don't, you understand it because you're sitting here today, put in a position to make these very, very tough decisions. I want to thank you for making the right decision in this case. The choice of placing a rocket fuel factory within 350 feet of a community is insane. It should never have been proposed. It should have never been brought to you. You didn't ask for it, but it was put in your lap. You did your due diligence. You satisfied the needs of the port, the fiscal analysis, the risk analysis, and you came to the right decision. And I hope that that decision holds. We're counting on you to make the right decision in the future. Remember, if you had said yes on that plant, you would have laid awake at night for the rest of your lives, hoping that nothing goes wrong. You'd be thinking about the little girl on the tricycle sitting out in her front porch, 350 feet away from this facility. As I told you previously, if there had been an accident, that little girl would have been the first one to arrive at the scene of the accident. And it would have been on you. So I want to say thank you today for serving as good stewards of our port, essentially the captains driving the ship. And I thank you again for making the right decision for no LNG on Merritt Island. Thank you again.
Let me just remind you that 3 minutes, but we're not going to hold you totally to it, but.
I'm not even going to be close to that, so good morning,
And what
Commissioner.
Phil said was great, all of it.
My name's Heidi Ifland, and I just wanted to mirror what Diana said, and thank you all for your due diligence and your time. We do appreciate it. I'm glad that this has finally been put to rest, and I just wanted to say out of respect to all of you, thank you. We appreciate it. I also wanted to let you know, in case you didn't know, Harbortown Marina sold in 2021, 24 acres for $28 million. So keep that in mind. 4.5 years ago.
Hey, my name's Sean Nicholson. I'm a resident of Merritt Island. I wasn't born here, so don't boo me. I came here obviously because of liquid natural gas. I was at the meeting last night. I was very impressed with the presentation from your guys who you got to put the workshop together. I wasn't quite as impressed with the LNG guys, but I thought your guys were excellent. I've always believed come with a solution, not with problems. So I'm going to present you with a problem that I saw and then a solution for it. Last year, when the beach replenishment project was going on, pipes were lined up along the channel before the bridge on the east side in front of Cape Marina. That channel was reduced by at least 30%. Barges were constantly coming in and out the whole time. As a boater and a fisherman, it was a hazard. It was very annoying. The water was always dirty. The fishing dropped right off. I came here, I retired here because it was such a beautiful place. The opposite side of the lock, on the west side, barges were also stored there. Pipes were also stored there. One of the things shown in that presentation last night was how you could reuse that land as warehousing and storage. I know it was going to cost $200 million or whatever it was, but I think that would be a lot safer, a lot environmentally cleaner way to use that land and to unrestrict the restrictions that were then put in that channel coming through in and out of the lock. I just basically wanted to thank you for your decision because that was great.
Thank you.
But I also want to, consider a look into that because as a boater, someone who retired here, because it is such a beautiful area. You guys don't know how lucky you are having this area. You probably do, but as an outsider coming in, God, this place is amazing. I really think you should look at that and look at reusing that land as some way of storing and keeping the channels open for getting in and out of the port for recreational, retired old guys like me. Thanks.
Captain.
Hello, everybody. My name's Captain Alex Garici, Merritt Island resident, lifelong Merritt Island resident. And, obviously I had a whole different spiel set up for today, but you guys made up the decision you made, and it was the correct decision. It does lead me to understand and realize that the decisions we make today affect us for years and years to come. Another decision you made today was supporting our commercial fishermen of the area, of which I get to take part in sometimes when I'm not too busy doing all this other stuff. To embrace what we have in this area as the soul of our area and not lose that. I know we're coming into the 10-year planning very soon. I would again love to see the citizens of the area be able to take part in that 10-year plan a little bit more than the 9 o'clock meetings allow us. Maybe a meet and greet or an after 5 meeting as you guys are coming through that planning and looking at the 10-year projections, just to get our idea. I know I said it time before, there does become an echo chamber in here. And when citizens aren't able to get your ear and talk to you, it does feel as though we're on the outside and not necessarily in the room with everybody. Really would appreciate the opportunity for a little more citizen involvement in that 10-year plan. You guys are doing a great job in many aspects of the port. There are some issues, we do love the fact that we have all this cruise stuff going on, but it does put immense strain on our infrastructure and our island, our roads and such like that. These are all things that we'd like to express, and it's a lot easier to do that if we have those opportunities at regular hours that people can attend. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your decision today. It was very much the right decision, and I thank you guys very much for allowing us to come in and basically invade a couple good meetings here. Not normally seen, I'm sure, for a few years. About 10 years ago, you guys saw a lot of yellow shirts in rooms, and it probably hasn't been that full since, but we're citizens and we do want to take part in this stuff. It's just hard for a lot of people to do so. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Dave Creech, Merritt Island resident for 30 years. I applaud you, gentlemen, for making the right decision. The only decision to include the residents of Merritt Island into your port business and take in consideration that the impacts that would make, not only to Merritt Island, but to Cocoa Beach, Cape Canaveral, and whatever. Thank you. It was a great decision.
I think that maybe there was a meeting after the meeting last night. That was pretty good. I agree with everything that you said. But I'm a 50-year veteran of chemical, hydrocarbon, and LNG gas. You have a problem. And you have a need. And I know you need that. And I know you know a lot more than I do about your needs and the schedule that you're going to have to meet. Can I just suggest to you, you separate your needs for you. That base, the launch facilities and everything. I did the ULA. ULA has all the LNG they need stored on site. That was the last project I did, and that was 2 years ago. I looked at the numbers that was published by the engineer. Unfortunately, there is part of that industry that had the opportunity to put their storage facility like ULA did out there. But my suggestion is you need to publish a schedule for what your LNG needs are. You just need a distribution system. I think you have room to put a tank farm. You got plenty of oil. You got plenty of other fuels here. And it's doable. With the right people, you can do it. You can continue what your business you're doing is great. Actually, it's too bad the port's as small as it is, but you would make it even bigger, and you do a great job. Once again, thank you for the decision. Just putting some thoughts in your mind. I don't know what else to tell you other than shop for yourselves and not for everyone else. It'll be a lot easier to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Samantha Branch, and I'm also from Merritt Island. I'm also the stepdaughter of a cost estimator from the Space Center and also a commercial fisherman. So in saying that, I can tell you, we care about our resources. We understand the footprint of the port. We appreciate having the park. But you also need to understand that as a community, we want Port Canaveral to have ties to us as well. We have the traffic coming through Merritt Island. We can barely get on the causeway. We're going to add more lanes in. Why not make the center lanes buses and fuel lanes just for the port? Why not invest the money for parking off-site on the mainland? Use the space that you had in your parking lots to put your LNG storage. That way it's in a security perimeter, and that way it's not 300 feet from somebody's house. I understand that you're going to have fuel needs, and I understand that you're going to need to do a new 10-year plan. If you don't want it in your footprint, just as we didn't want it in ours, there's no reason that it can't be put just inside the spaceport space where the pads have been retired and run a pipeline from there. Then it's in a secure facility where we all can monitor it and where it's a situation where it's not going to have a footprint that can grow larger than what they originally attained. Thank you for sitting on this board and thank you for hearing us. But please understand, every time that you take a restaurant away from the port, or every time you minimize our footprint, it makes us wonder where we fit into this. We understand that you're here to make money, and we understand that you're doing quite well with all the cruise ships. They don't live here. We do. We want to support you. We want to vote for you, and we want you to have the positions that you hold. Please understand, we want to live here as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Reminding me what I need to do. Hi, I'm Teresa Miles. I am so excited, and I brought some of this, the vegetation from the land, because it's right out my door practically. So I'll often drive over there, walk there, I talk to the birds and everything, and I pick these and I say, thank you, because this is providing us fresh, clean air, whereas the LNG plant wasn't going to provide us anything fresh or good. And we know that because they constantly said the word safety. If you have to say that, you know it's a volatile situation. You just know that. So all their paperwork said that. I had to bring this with me because I kept thinking about it. And when I invite people to my house, I don't say it's safe. And if it's not safe, I have responders here to maximize your safety. You know, I don't say that when I invite people to my house. You don't hear that at Walmart. You just don't. So when you hear those things, that's why, like Fritz said, we became a wreck, an emotional wreck, losing sleep. about all the things that could happen. Plus, you Google and you can find everything. I've had 3 cracks on my windshield on 528 now. I have to replace my windshield again because of all the trucks that keep going to the port back and forth. You know that the traffic is super bad, and it's going to get worse if we bring more cruise ships in. I can't even get on 528, and we live here. When the man said yesterday about, well, there's so much noise on 528, you won't notice ours. I'm like, you'll just add more to it. So I'm like, anyway, so I just thank you so much for making that decision. I have so much more to do in my life. And I do love this place. It's a beautiful place to think about it. You have time now to make a master plan or whatever you want to do. I thank you so much because your legacy to us is something perfect. And what did I want to say about this? The land, the birds, everything that's out there, maybe you can find something else, but I would hold on to it for a long time because you don't know. You can't get back land. As you said, you just can't get back that land. So thank you so much for all you did and changing your decisions to protect us. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, Commissioner reports. Commissioner Lloyd.
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Fritz.
Mr. Chairman, just one thing. On March 5th, I attended the Canaveral Port Ministry Dinner, and at which the port had a table. They had a great turnout and some good speakers. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Markey.
Yes, quick opportunity consistent with my prior theme. I did speak with some members of the audience last night after the meeting and commended them and the group as a whole for their preparation, their research, their commitment to learning facts on their own. And I think I wish to emphasize again, many ports in this state are run by a group of appointees. They don't have the opportunity to elect, as you do, the folks to represent your interests here. So I wish to remind you to continue with your commitment to paying attention to what's happening in the legislature. Talk to your local House of Representatives, your local senator, and remain as mindful and committed as you are going forward.
Commissioner Craggy.
I have nothing.
Okay. I want to thank all of you that have shown up today and in the past to express your opinion, your thoughts, your ideas. That is important to us in making decisions. As Commissioner Marquez pointed out, we are elected. We don't do things just to appease people to get their votes. We try to make good, sound decisions, but we are responsible and answerable to you, and we appreciate all of you taking your time. These meetings we've had in the past when we were considering controversial issues, to show up, to express your thoughts, your ideas, so that we can hopefully make the right decision. That's all I have to say. So now I will adjourn this meeting. Our next meeting is Wednesday, April 29th. Meeting is adjourned.